Oh, hello! Welcome back. There is something really refreshing about grabbing your sketchbook and heading outside and drawing what you see. And what I like to do is draw what I see and add a touch of my own imagination to it. I'll show you how I do it. It's always a lot of fun. There we are. We got our blueberry teas. Now, let's go look at the map. I've got something I need to show you. Jeez. The other day, I was sorting through some things. I was going through some old books, old antiques, all kinds of interesting things covered in dust on my shelves. And then this I found between two old books. There is a forest next to our home, and I've been wanting to explore it. I've been a little bit afraid, but now I'm very afraid because, behold, I have found a map. Yes, a map of this area. And there is the forest right next to our home, the Fairy Glade. Yes, the forest has a name, the Fairy Glade. Ah, so much mystery. I don't know if I'm daring to explore it, but since you're here, I think I'm feeling brave enough. We'll pack up our sketchbooks, we'll head into the forest, and we'll draw what we see. We pack our sketchbook. We're gonna need this. This is the main thing. Some pencils. Some good old sturdy HB pencils. A pencil sharpener. Well, more of a weapon to fight off goblins if they come across our path. But if we need to sharpen our pencils, I'd advise using one of these. Something for close examination if we need to look at any small details. A thinking pipe. A key to open any doorways that might appear. An artist hat for the creativity. A walking staff, because every adventure needs one. And here we are, the unexplored Fairy Glade. We got this. You know, so far so good. Perhaps I let my imagination get the best of me. But you know what? Perhaps that's just it. Perhaps my imagination brings out the best of me. A place like this, I'd say it's fertile soil for the imagination. But keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's going to peep around the corner. You know what? I think we're ready to pull out our sketchbooks and start to document our surroundings. I claim this land as Joshi Fairy-topia. So right now I'm looking at just a tree, a little thin tree that's in front of me. And it looks a little something like this. Can you see that going on there? What I'm doing is, I want my lines to be, well, one line. I want to try and keep it tidy. I don't want to do heaps of ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. I want my lines to be precise and clean or slick. Like this, you see? We're not overly sketching it, kind of just drawing one line. Now we'll do the leaves. There's the leaves for the tree. I like drawing leaves. They have interesting shapes. There are so many different types of leaves out there. This tree has little knots on it. And another little knot down here. Now we're going to shade it. So the light's coming from this side. So we'll get the side of our pencil and just shade it like this. And the leaves, we'll give a bit of detail to. So you draw a line down the middle of the leaf like that. And then you give it little veins inside. These veins are what carry the oxygen out and in. Might give a little bit of moss around the bottom. Fluff, 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 fluff. I love moss. Give it some sort of leaves as well. What's something interesting we can do to this tree? You know what I like? I like spider webs. Let's draw one. I'll draw this kind of star-like shape in the middle here and give it attachments to the branches. I'm going to give it a thing in the middle like that. And then we're just going to start drawing more lines around the edges. And then we're going to bring in some bridgy lines. And then we have a spider web that makes it look kind of spooky. We'll do another cool stretchy spider web down here and give it a little thing in the middle as well. And a couple of these. Sometimes there aren't that many attachments. There we go, spooky spiderwebby tree. But you know what it probably needs? Yes, the spider. He's going to have a big bottom like this. Actually, there's quite a big spider. And he's going to have a face. And how many legs do spiders have? They have 8. Is that correct? So I think we do, what is it? Like one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, one here. And they've got one near their face. And they've got these little clippy things for biting you. And spiders have heaps of eyes. And we'll just give them a bit of shading. Ooh, creepy crawly. And that's a bit interesting. There's so much going on in the environment around us. If you and I would become like sponges and just sit there peacefully and take it all in, you'll find that it's actually quite stimulating in its own way. And before you know it, your imagination will be just creating little worlds and stories and characters and I could go on. So I'm looking at this neat tree right in front of me, and its roots do this, and they come out like this. And there's this real neat one in the middle that does this thing like that. It goes. Roots are amazing. They kind of go anywhere. It's almost impossible to draw them wrong because they just go everywhere. This is the base, the ground. A root over here. And there's all these leaves on the ground. So I'll draw the leaf like that. Little mossy bit on the tree. It does this kind of splatty thing. And then it has all these little leaves off itself, like there. Boom. Got another little moss splat over here. And there's all these cool little shapes as well. These are like the moss clinging to the tree because it probably gets quite cold in this forest, and so the trees wrap themselves up in moss to keep themselves warm. And then the tree has like these rings. And you know what I want to do with this tree? I want to put a window on it right here in the shape of a long leaf, like this. And then I'm going to make the window frames kind of wriggly, like that. Remember that? Have like another frame on the outside of it, like here, because I'm imagining little creatures living in there. And there's a little doorway over here too, a little door handle right on there. And it has these little wooden planks, and of course a little chimney. That's the thing, when you're drawing magical things in a forest, like homes inside of a tree, you kind of want to make it almost look like part of the forest in the way it's shaped. Like it could be wriggly and have interesting shapes to it, not too straight, things have wiggles to them. But of course there's a fairy creeping around the corner. The fairy was going to be just here, just a little one. These little arms, kind of like a little stick figure almost. Here's the fairy's face, and they have little pointy ears. And here's her hair. Here's her top of her dress, and of course, the fairy has these wings. And this one's sort of behind the tree. She has a little curious face because she's watching me. She's like, I wonder who he is. And the interesting thing with their wings as well, they kind of have these branches inside of them, like a leaf. And there's the fairy. And you know what? I want to draw another one so you can see the whole fairy. And this one's flying. So there's her torso. There's her dress. And then there's her arm. It's going to be her elbow, so that's where it bends, and then her hand is here. The other hand is there. Here's her foot coming out of the bottom of her dress, and her other foot here. And this is the top of her dress. And I want to give her this little ribbon around her waist. Here's her little tassels. And then here is her neck, connected to a ball, a long egg-shaped ball like this, and then the pointy ears again. And now another curious face. I reckon she's wondering who I am. It's like, huh? I made her wings flapping real quick, so there's heaps of lines making it look like it's moving, and her hair is blowing. Cool thing I like to do is imagine where the light is coming from. Let's say the sunshine is coming from up here, which means the shadows are going to be on this side. So I get the side of my pencil and I just start shading. A little fairy home inside of the trees. 2 fairies flying around. Perhaps they're sisters and they live in this tree. And they don't want any little garden gnomes coming in, any pesky, dirty, grubby garden gnomes, and so they protect it. And fend off any creepy, crawling, yucky things. I suppose I better get on home. But you know, one thing's been bothering me. Was it that way? Was it that way? Was it this way? Who am I kidding? It was definitely from there. Alright, I'm glad we could do this together, and I'll see you again on the next one. I'll make it home. I always do. Yeah, it was definitely this way. I never get lost.